Hi guys, welcome to our new episode of our Wing Chun roadmap.
Welcome back.
Okay, so today we have another hot topic, and we will talk about power generation.
Yes.
This is a subject of debate because people do not really agree with each other. What is power generation in Wing Chun? And so basically, power generation has two aspects, basically. We can generate power from the ground, like let's say sumo wrestler. You push yourself from the ground and you bump into the other person. Of course, you can just hit the other person. You basically use the ground to generate power. That's the basic theory. Another way of generating power is using rotational force, right? Again, you push yourself from the ground, but instead of going straight, you use the rotational movement to generate power. You can see this type of generation of power in any kind of martial art, especially in Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing. They use this kind of rotational movement to generate power. Anything you want to add here?
Yeah, I know it's a very difficult theory, but let's try to keep it simple. So, ground up means a straight line and more of a static kind of power generation, and rotational, it's more of a dynamic. Now, of course, both of them are dynamic. You have to move, but the movement in the first one is very little, and the force is more focused on the feet and the core, while the rotational type is usually projected on the limbs, as in projecting, your arm, like for a hook punch or a leg, projecting your force on something that rotates so that it amplifies the power that it generates at the end. So those are two very different strategies, and that's why the training and the way you generate the power is very much different.
Yeah, to emphasize this, if I use a stick, obviously this type of power generation is rotational, right?
Yeah.
If I hit him like this is rotational. Get power from the ground and I stab him. Okay, so these are the two
main types, yeah, which basically split all the martial arts. You have either the static ones or the dynamic ones.
Exactly. Now, here we have again the problem of distance, because in order to stab him, right, if I have a spear, if I want to stab him, I need distance. If I'm too close, then I have no power.
Yeah.
I need to have some kind of distance to use the ground as support for my movement. The same thing, if I want to use a rotational type of movement, right? I need to wind up and then hit. This one applies to a weapon as well as to
It's the same principle.
It's the same principle.
You need to know the distance your body requires to apply that punch, that kick, whatever it is. So the dynamic ones will have a bigger distance that they need in order to generate the power, and the static ones is usually shorter. And that's where Wing Chun comes in, right? The static type of generation from the ground up.
Yeah. So in Wing Chun, if I want to generate like a power from the ground, here I'm too far. I have to basically propel myself and hit him. And this looks like karate, right?
Yeah.
Looks very, very similar.
Which is also from the ground up.
Exactly, exactly. So basically all traditional martial arts have something in common. Don't think that Wing Chun is very, very special and Wing Chun is some alien type of fighting. No, it's still human. So in Wing Chun, we need closer distance to be able to generate power. Okay, pretty much everybody can generate power from long distance, right? It's not so difficult. You just wind up and haymaker. You hit the person. You don't need knowledge to do that. It's built in. Okay. Whereas for generating power from short distance, we need some kind of knowledge. We need this kinetic chain. We need a proper body alignment. to be able to transfer the power from the ground up into the target. Okay, so this is one way to generate power. Bruce Lee made it famous by his 1-inch punch. And I want here to dispel a myth. I'm sorry for the Bruce Lee fans. That was not an inch punch.
That wasn't the punch.
That wasn't the punch.
Yeah.
That was an inch push.
Yeah.
So don't fool yourselves. Bruce Lee was good, amazing, wonderful, but that was not an inch punch. Okay, inch push. Push is a push and punch is punch.
And this is a very good differentiation. So pushing and punching, because we can switch to the other aspect of power generation, the fitness type of power generation, which is exactly like pushing or pulling, right?
Okay,
so if I push, I do this, I'm going to need a lot of back and leg muscles to push him if he's really big, right? So I need to do this because I'm slow. But punching means projecting something with speed to generate the impact. And that doesn't require a lot of muscle mass. It's a different type of energy and a different type of generating that power. That's why we get back to static or dynamic, but never push. Right? In martial arts, unless we're talking about grappling, where of course we can push, maybe throw somebody. We don't really use pushing in striking type of martial arts.
However, you see in Tai Chi, you see even in Wing Chun, you see sometimes that we do Chi Sao and then we end up in a good position and we push the other person. Why do we push the other person? Makes no sense, right? We push the other person because we don't want to hit him.
Yeah.
That's a push just in training.
That's making a point, and that's it.
Yes, it's making a point, is to see whether my structure is aligned, to see whether I could get his weak point, where I can feel his balance.
Yeah.
But normally I'm not going to push, I'm going to punch. Okay, so don't think that all the pushing actions are actually pushing actions. There are a lot of things hidden in the training. And you see sometimes we do Chi Sao and we do like this, and we do like this, and we do like this, and we do, all kind of things like this. And you think this is fighting. No, this is not fighting, obviously. This is training. Okay, this is training. There's a lot of things that are hidden into this type of training. Because you have to keep in mind one thing, talking about power generation. If I'm here, I touch normally. If I touch him, I already know that I can go in and where, and I hit. Can we learn if we always train like this? No, we cannot. We cannot. I can prove him that I'm better than him, or he can prove me that he's better than me, and that's it. There's no learning there.
The eye can see, all the information is being transmitted back to the brain, but then the brain needs time to understand what's happening. And then you need to train your brain to tell your body what to do. So all of this can only happen at a very slow speed.
Yes.
To give you the time to process everything that you see, thinking what you need to do. That's why even for advanced people, advanced practitioners, they don't always train at maximum speed.
Pretty much seldom train at maximum speed. Because to build muscle memory, okay, you do not need maximum speed and maximum power all the time. You don't. You need time and repetitions. That's the key. Okay, so let's go back to power generation. Right? We had the power generation from the ground. Now, talking about the power generation using rotational movement. Right? Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Kick. Everybody is this very famous kick. We know it, wonderful. However, you need space.
Yes.
You need this kind of space. Otherwise, you cannot get power. In Wing Chun, we do not have that space because we are a short distance fighting art. We are here. So how can we use the rotational movement since we do not have the space? Well, everything that happens outside, everything that happens when you see the big movement, happens inside in Wing Chun. Well, it should happen inside. How to do it? Well, you should train the forms. We will talk about forms and the importance of training forms in another episode. But right now, we just focus on power generation. So by training in a correct way the forms, you can develop the internal rotation. Okay, there is something called internal rotation. It's very difficult to explain it. You
For
have
me,
to feel
I
it.
never like this kind of etiquette, this kind of label, internal, because to me it doesn't make sense. I need to understand how the body moves. So it's called internal or static because you don't see it, but it's there. So if you think like boxing, we have a mix in boxing. We have the hook, which is just like the same power generation like in Muay Thai or kickboxing, because the force is concentrated at the tip of whatever limb or stick or whatever arm you're using. So that's where the power is concentrated, right? At the end of my foot. This is where the power is concentrated in boxing. But even in boxing, they have this type of body kick. Now, of course, we're not talking about body punch, body punch. So we're not talking about boxing as the same as Wing Chun, because there they also use a rotational type of movement, and of course they arch more than we do to use all the muscles in their body. So in Wing Chun we try to use less muscles, so standing as straight as we can, but the principle is the same, delivering power for a very short distance. And this is a big distance. This distance is for hook punches, but never for body punches. So you need to get closer, as in, if you might have seen this even in fighting, they're even pushing their heads against each other, because this is where you need to be for a body punch.
True. However, talking about hook punch, there's also a misunderstanding. This is already not power generation, but I want to, because you talked about hook punch, there's a misunderstanding that we do not have hook punch in Wing Chun. There's always a saying that a straight line beats a circular line, right? Well, that's true, kind of, but it's half true, because the straight line beats the circle, and the circle beats the straight line. Okay.
It's about who gets there first.
It's yin and yang.
Yeah.
There's no absolute truth. So of course, if I'm here, hands up, if I'm here, right, you can argue, well, straight line beats the circular line. True, 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 true. If I do not have an obstruction. If I have an obstruction, then of course the circular line will beat the straight punch. Okay, but that's a very simplistic way of explaining
And
it.
of course, then there's also timing and who starts first. So we can't reduce it like in physics.
No.
We don't both leave at the same time from point A to reach point B.
Yeah, we are not trains. It's different. So let's go back to power generation. Oh, okay, about the hook punch. There is hook punch in Wing Chun. Okay, there is.
It's just that it's not that visible. It's not like this.
No, but there is. It's not complete. So we have hook punches in Wing Chun. We have uppercut. We have elbows. We have everything. Some people say that in Wing Chun we only have straight vertical punch. Not true. We also have this punch. Okay. There's another debate, and here I go also to back to the power generation. We will talk about this in another episode. The natural weapons. What is the part of the fist that we use to hit someone? This is another story. So let's go back to circular movement. How do we do that in Wing Chun? As you said in boxing, right?
Yeah.
You turn your body and you hook. In boxing, also two types of hooks. One is like this, another one is like this. Different. So we do not turn that much because we want to be able to use legs as well. So we do not shift that much the center of mass. We don't shift it that much. We still shift it, but not as much as in boxing. The rotational movement is also there. However, the emphasis in Wing Chun, I'm not a boxer, so I really do not know that much about boxing. But in Wing Chun, at least, the emphasis is on hips. Your hips should rotate because the power is generated in the ground and distributed by the dantian, and the dantian is connected to hips. So the hips should move in order to distribute power. So the rotational movement is here, and then the spinal column, which rotates and allows your hands to hit. Okay, this is the basic theory.
I try to translate that for myself, and I always think of my center of balance. And your center of balance would be pretty much here. So that's one thing. And the other thing is both ways of generating energy take power from the ground. Everything, you stand on the ground, you're not floating in the air. The point is, how do you keep your feet? So are you on your toes? Are you on your heels? Do you translate the body weight from one leg to another? So what do? The obvious difference is boxing, like you said, they don't use legs. So there's no harm in doing this in boxing, right?
Yeah, but
so when we're talking about kickboxing, nobody's going to do this. You can do it in boxing because it's not allowed to hit below the waist, right? But when you start using kicks, then you realize, oh, I cannot lean so much on the back leg. I cannot risk my body weight. So it's about keeping the center of your balance, and where do you press that down? Do you press it down on your toes when you turn, like in boxing? Do you press it down on the whole foot or just on the heels? It's different types of movement. So just stick to one kind of concept, keep it clean, and see how much power can you generate in that type of way. Now I know it's very tempting to go for things that are naturally easier, as in large kind of movements, so it's easier to generate energy like in boxing, or kickboxing is very easy to generate energy like this, just because if I'm tall and I'm heavy, I have a heavy arm, well, mine's not that heavy, but if I would have 150 kilos, I don't have to do much, I just have to reach a little bit towards you and you're done. So that's why it's easier, because we're using our body weight, and it's very easily amplified by the circular movement of the arms and legs. But when you don't use that, or you're shorter, you're slim, then you can think about, okay, let's try to see what can I generate from a short range distance. And that, in theory, applied to a heavier person, they can generate the same. So it's not the point which is better. The point is, which one do you prefer, which one do you like to use? Maybe both of them, just as long as you don't mix up the training principles.
Yes. So this is a way, the short range power generation is a way to improve your power generation. Why not use it? Now, I hear all the time people saying, oh, I'm too small, I'm too short, he's too tall, too strong, I cannot fight with him. Of course you cannot. If you stay in his distance, obviously you cannot fight with him. It's about, again, power generation. Yeah. You are, there's a word, sitting duck.
Exactly.
So you're just there, you are target practice for him.
Yeah.
Because you cannot reach him. He can. So obviously it's very difficult for you to fight in his range. Now, Wing Chun gives an answer to this by opening this close range power generation, this close range fighting ability. So you get closer. You get closer inside. When you get closer, you already can hit him. He can hit you too, of course. What is better? Here, where you can hit, he can hit, or here, you cannot hit, he can hit. So which one is better? Obviously, I like to be closer to him, because here, if I know how to generate power, how to move, I can negate, in theory, I can negate his advantage, his height advantage, his power advantage, if I can do it properly. provided I do it properly. So there's always an if here. It might work, it might not. So this is basically, these are the two power generation principles. Now, of course, for these two principles, there are ways to train them, okay? The most common question I'm getting is, oh, I feel I don't have enough power when I hit. Yes, you don't. Why? Because you want to hit with power. So what happens, this is a very big mistake, is people hit like this. Okay? And they feel their own power. Their own body is tense. They feel their power is here. Nothing there.
Yep.
I feel my own power. And I feel I am powerful. He feels nothing. Because I didn't transfer my power into him. I do not have to feel my power. This is the thing I say, I repeat all the time. I do not have to feel my power. He has to feel my power. So if I want to punch him, I can punch him, he can take it. So if I want to punch him, then I do not have to tense. I just have to hit and transfer my power into him. So it's okay, I guess. Okay. Because this one is like an iron ball, okay, attached to a string. And I throw my iron ball into him. There's no tension here. There's no tension here.
Well, there is for a split second.
When I touch the target, then there is a tension because I need to transfer my body mass into him if I want. I can transfer only the upper part, the lower part, everything. It's another story. But the point is I need to transfer my body mass into him. So I need to make this iron ball heavier to put my body mass behind this. I can only do this if this part is relaxed. If this part is tense, then I'm here. Nothing there. Okay? So do not make this mistake. In order to punch harder, you need to punch in a relaxed manner. Don't put power, and then power will come to you.
This will lead us to another episode talking about speed.
Yes.
You cannot reach neither power nor speed if you don't practice it in a relaxed manner.
Absolutely.
So don't try to impress anybody, not even yourself. Training means relaxing while you're working out. So if you're already sweating and giving your lungs out after the 5 minutes, most likely you're doing it wrong.
Yes. Yes. So be relaxed. Be relaxed. In Wing Chun, we always have this soft, soft, soft. Relax, relax, relax. Of course, in fighting, you cannot be soft. The thing is, you're not going to hit like this. No. But in order to get more power, you need to relax first. Give up your power in order to get more power. It's counterintuitive.
Right.
It's counterintuitive, but trust me, it's the way it is. Okay, so I guess it's enough for today, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. See you next time.
Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.